Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and pranams. Thank you very much for joining in for our Krishna book study session today. So we've joined ahead of time, couple of minutes. So we'll start with Jai Radha Madhava, and then we'll do Mangalacharan prayers, and then we'll start off. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijanna Vallabha Girivaradari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijanna Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijanna Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jai Jai Jagannath Jai Baladev Jai Jai Subhadra Jai Jai Sudarshan Jaya Bala Gopal Jaya Prahlad Narsingha Jaya Rukmini Vitthal Jaya Lakshmi Narsingha Jai Chaturbhuj Jai Shaligram Sila Jai Griva Shaligram Sila Gopal Ji Shaligram Sila Purma Ji Shaligram Sila Lakshmi Narsingha Shaligram Sila Radha Giridhari Jaya Guruvayurappa Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Sri Radhe Jayo Radha Madhava Radha Sham Sundar Radha Rasa Bihari Sri Radhe Jayo Radhe Radhe Jayo Radhe 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 Jaya Sri Radhe Jaya Sadguru Swami Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Vita Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रधायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तडालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरूं दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं। हरिः ओं तत्सत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। आराध्य भगवान् व्रजेशतनया तद्धाम वृन्दावनम्। रम्या काचित् उपासना व्रजवधू वर्गेण वा कल्पिता। श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेम पुमर्तो महान्। श्रीचैतन्यमहाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्र दरनापर। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you very much for joining in for our Krishna book study. Today we're going to start with chapter number 46, where Uddhava visits Vrindavan. Right? So actually Nanda Maharaj and along with Akrura, Krishna, Balaram, they all go to Mathura. And in Mathura, Krishna kills Kamsa, Krishna defeats the Chanura, Mushtika, and Kuvalaya Pida, elephant, and Krishna does, wonderful pastimes with several people of Mathura, right? And how the the washerman who did not deliver clothes to Krishna on his demand was actually killed by Krishna just by his hand, bare hand. And how this Kubja, the lady who had a hunchback, she offered sandalwood paste to Krishna, and in this way she became a very beautiful woman. And she invited Krishna home, and Krishna also told her, and I will come to your home later on once I finish all of my responsibilities and my duties for which I've come to Mathura. So in this way, so many wonderful pastimes took place. And then Nanda Maharaj returned back to Vrindavan, whereas Krishna and Balaram, they stayed there, right? We also saw how Krishna also delivered the death, the dead son of Shandipani Muni. right? So he went to Gurukul, he learned the 64 arts. So in this way, yad yad acharati shreshta tattad evetarojana. Just like one follows the leader, Krishna establishes all of the principles, just like a leader teaches his followers. Like that, Krishna is performing various pastimes in Mathura, where everyone is following the lotus footsteps of Lord Sri Krishna, and in this way, everybody is glorifying Krishna. Everybody is remembering the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna in the Vrindavan Dham. Although he is in Mathura, although the ladies of Mathura are now getting to have the association of Krishna, they all are glorifying Krishna's Vrindavan Leela. Who all demons he killed, what did Krishna do in Vrindavan, like that. Everybody is glorifying the Vrindavan Leela of Lord Sri Krishna. And today's topic is when Uddhava visits Vrindavan. So Nanda Maharaj returns to Vrindavan. Everyone is very sad. There's no life in Vrindavan without Lord Shri Krishna. Everyone, the gopis are all lifeless. They don't know what to do, but they're simply maintaining their life because Krishna has told that one day I will come back. I will come back very soon. So Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Maya, the gopis, the gopas, the Vrajavasis, they're all waiting for Krishna to come back soon, right? That's what Krishna said. I will come back soon, right? But you're all lifeless. They don't have anything to look forward to except that Krishna will come someday. And Uddhava, who's actually Krishna's advisor. Krishna, if he needs any advice, he will ask Uddhav. And Uddhav also looks very much like Krishna. So Krishna understands that all the Vrajavasis are now very, very sad. They're almost lifeless. They don't have any hopes. They don't have any reason to live. So in this way, Krishna actually sends Uddhava to go to Vrindavan, right, to console the devotees of Vrindavan. But Krishna had an ulterior purpose in mind, right? He wanted Uddhava to understand the glories of the Vrajavasis. He is going to teach, Uddhava decides, okay, I'll go to Vrindavan. I will tell them, don't worry about Krishna. Krishna is safe. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is very happy in Mathura. So don't worry about Krishna. And he learns a very important lesson that the gopis are telling Uddhava, we want to forget Krishna, but unfortunately, we're not able to forget Krishna. That is our problem. And the way they are selflessly caring for Krishna, loving Krishna, they're so much devoted to Krishna, the Uddhava decides that I want to become a blade of grass in Vrindavan Dham, where the gopis actually, walk upon me and go. Their love is so much great. Who am I to teach them, who Krishna is and what kind of attitude they should have towards Krishna? So that is the wonderful pastime that we're going to see, that we're going to study today, where Uddhava visits Vrindavan Dham to console the Vrindavan Vasis, and ultimately he understands, that the gopis are the highest in their devotion to Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, so let's start reading. Okay, Anusha, Uddhava visits Vrindavan, chapter number 46.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. Uddhava visits Vrindavana. Nanda Maharaj returned to Vrindavana without Krishna and Balrama. He was accompanied only by the cowherd boys and men. It was certainly a very pathetic scene for the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Srimati Radharani, and all the other residents of Vrindavana. Many devotees have tried to make adjustments to Krishna's being away from Vrindavana house. According to expert opinion, Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, never goes even a step out of Vrindavana. He always remains there. The explanation of expert devotees is that Krishna was actually not absent from Vrindavana. He came back with Nanda Maharaja as promised. When Krishna was starting for Mathura on the chariot driven by Akrura and the gopis were blocking the way, Krishna assured them that he was coming back just after finishing his business in Mathura. He told them not to be overwhelmed and in this way pacified them. But when he failed to come back with Nanda Maharaja, it appeared that he either cheated them or could not keep up his promise. Expert devotees, however, have decided that Krishna was neither a cheater nor a breaker of promises. Krishna, in his original identity, returned with Nanda Maharaja and stayed with the gopis and Mother Yashoda in his Bhava expansion. Krishna and Balarama remained in Mathura not in their original forms but in their expansions as Vasudeva and Sankarshana. The real Krishna and Balarama were in Vrindavana in their Bhava manifestation, whereas in Madura, they appeared in the Prabhava and Vaibhava expansions. This is the expert opinion of advanced devotees of Krishna. Externally, however, they were absent from Vrindavana. Therefore, when Nanda Maharaja was preparing to return to Vrindavana, there was some discussion between him and the boys concerning how they could live in separation. The conclusion to separate was reached by mutual agreement. Vasudeva and Devaki, who happened to be the real parents of Krishna and Balrama, wanted to keep them now because of the death of Kamsa. While Kamsa was alive, Krishna and Balrama were kept under the protection of Nanda Maharaja in Vrindavana. Now, naturally, the father and mother of Krishna and Balrama wanted them to remain specifically for the reformatory function of purification, the sacred thread ceremony. They also wanted to give them a proper education, for this is the duty of the father. Another consideration was that all the friends of Kamsa outside Mathura were planning to attack Mathura. For that reason, also, Krishna's presence was required. Krishna did not want Vrindavana disturbed by enemies like Dantavakra and Jarasandha. If Krishna were to go to Vrindavana, these enemies would not only attack Mathura but would go on to Vrindavana, and the peaceful inhabitants of Vrindavana would be disturbed. Krishna therefore decided to remain in Mathura, and Nanda Maharaj went back to Vrindavana. Although the inhabitants of Vrindavana felt separation from Krishna, the resulting ecstasy, bhava, caused to them to perceive that Krishna was always present with them by his lila or pastimes. Since Krishna had departed from Vrindavana and gone to Mathura, the inhabitants of Vrindavana, especially Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaja, Srimati Radharani, the gopis, and the cowherd boys, were simply thinking of Krishna at every step. They were thinking, here Krishna was playing in this way, here Krishna was blowing his flute, Krishna was joking with us in this way, and Krishna was embracing us like this. This is called Leela Smarana, and it is the process of association with Krishna most recommended by great devotees. Even Lord Chaitanya, when he was at Puri, enjoyed Leela Smarana association with Krishna. Those in the most exalted position of devotional service and ecstasy can live with Krishna always by remembering his pastimes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura has given us a transcendental literature entitled Krishna Bhavanamrita, which is full with Krishna's pastimes. Exalted devotees can remain absorbed in Krishna thought by reading such books. Any book of Krishna Leela, even this book, Krishna, or our teachings of Lord Chaitanya, is actually solace for devotees feeling separation from Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Machittamad gata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That's what the devotees do. When Krishna is there with them, personally present, they serve Krishna. When Krishna is not personally present in front of them, then they serve Krishna by talking about Krishna. They serve Krishna by remembering Krishna. They serve Krishna by discussing Lord Krishna's pastimes with each other, discussing the sevas that they are rendering for Krishna. And in this way, always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna is the goal of a devotee's life. This is called Prabhupada saying Leela Smaran. Leela, the Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, right? Madhurya of the Lord are all non-different. When we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are actually doing, Krishna Smaran. When we are doing Harinam Sankirtan, we are doing Krishna Smaran. When we are discussing the pastimes of the Lord, like we are now discussing how Krishna went with Akrura to Mathura, and how Krishna killed Kamsa, how Krishna killed Kolepeda, how Krishna killed Chanura Mushtika, and then how Krishna made the hunchback woman get straight, and then all of these pastimes, how in the ghats of Yamuna, Krishna and Balaram are sitting on the chariot. Akrura goes to do his Sandhya Vandana. He goes down the Yamuna river to perform his Sandhya Vandana, and he finds Krishna and Balaram inside the Yamuna river. So he rushes outside to see. They're also in the chariot, and they're also in the Yamuna river, they're also in the chariot. These are all the wonderful pastimes of the Lord that we can do smaran, that we can remember. Because we are reading the Krishna book, like Prabhupada is saying, when we read the Krishna book or the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, which we've already completed as part of our study. So teachings of Lord Chaitanya is the loving reciprocation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this pure devotees. right? And the teachings of how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, that will enable one to always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, and to serve Krishna in the mode of the servant of the servant of the servant. So this is what is called Vipraramba Seva. That means service in separation. If you have the opportunity to serve the Lord directly, that is very wonderful. But even higher than that is to serve the Lord in separation. That means to feel that separation from the Lord and to develop that laulyam, to develop that greed, to develop that eagerness, to develop that intense desire to always serve the Lord, to always remember the Lord, to always glorify the Lord. And that is the price to develop Krishna Prema, to have the desire to always serve the Lord, to always remember the Lord, never forget the Lord. That is the requirement to develop Krishna Prema, to reawaken our Krishna Prema. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karaya Udaya. Right? When we hear about the Lord, speak about the Lord, sing about the glories of the Lord, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then we reawaken the dormant love of Godhead, which is there lying underneath in our hearts, which is now being covered over by lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, and illusion. So we want to discard all the unnecessary nonsense, and then we want to reawaken our love for Krishna that is already embedded in our heart, that is very close to our heart. But then we have accumulated a lot of unnecessary things due to which we are not able to realize that we are the servants of the Lord, we are the devotees of the Lord, Lord Krishna is most dear to us than anyone else. And our service to Krishna and our serving, satisfying and pleasing Krishna is utmost important. If we can able to do that, then we will be able to serve, satisfy and please all the people of this world, all the living entities, because everyone is but a part and parcel of that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. All right, let's move ahead. We are on chapter number 46, and we are reading about how when Nanda Maharaj returned back to Vrindavan, and Krishna and Balaram have come back with Nanda Maharaj in the Bhava Rupa. They've not come back in the actual, so none of the Vrajavasis are able to see Krishna and Balaram. However, Krishna, as promised, has come back to Vrindavan Dham, but in the Bhava Rupa, right? But in the actual manifest pastimes, Krishna and Balaram are still staying back in Mathura, because Vasudeva and Devaki want to perform the Upanayanam function for Krishna and Balaram. But in the Bhava Rupa, in his heart, Krishna is coming back to Vrindavan along with Nanda Maharaj, fulfilling his promise that he made to the gopis when they stood in front of the in front of the chariot, saying that you run over us. I will not allow Krishna to go out of Vrindavan Dham. And Krishna said, "Don't worry, I will come back." And Krishna actually comes back. In his heart, he is in Vrindavan always. It doesn't take a step out of Vrindavan Dham. But however, in the external manifest pastimes, Krishna is still in Mathura, and along with his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki. So that's how the pastime goes. Okay, Sridhar Prabhu, please go ahead. That Krishna and Balaram did not return to Vrindavan can be adjusted as...
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji. That Krishna and Balarama did not return to Vrindavana can be adjusted as follows. They did not break their promise to return to Vrindavana, nor were they absent, but their presence was necessary in Madhura. In the meantime, Uddhava, a cousin brother of Krishna, came to see Krishna and from Dwaraka. He was the son of Vasudeva's brother and almost the same age as Krishna. His bodily features resembled Krishna's almost exactly. After Krishna returned from his teacher's home, he was pleased to see Uddhava, who happened to be his dearmost friend. Krishna wanted to send him to Vrindavana with a message to residents to pacify their deep feelings of separation. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, ya yada mam pravartyante tam tatva bhajantyade aham. Krishna is very responsive. He is respond in proportion to the devotee's advancement in devotional service. Thus, the gopis were thinking of Krishna in separation 24 hours a day. So, Krishna was also always thinking of gopis, Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj, and other residents of Vrindavana. Although he appeared to be away from them, he could understand how they were transcendently aggravated, and so he immediately wanted to send Uddhava to give them a message of solace. Uddhava is described as as the most exalted personality in the Vrishid dynasty, being almost equal to Krishna. He was a great friend of Krishna and being the direct student of Brihaspati, the teacher and the priest of heavenly planet. He was very intelligent and sharp in decision. Intelligently, he was highly qualified. Krishna, being his very loving friend, wanted to send by Uddhava to Vrindavana just to study the highly elevated ecstasy devotional service practice there. Even if one is highly elevated in material education and even in the discipline of Pragaspati, he still has to return from the gopis and the other learn from the gopis and the other residents of Vrindavana how to love Krishna to the highest degree. It was Krishna's special favor to Uddhava to send him to Vrindavana with a message for the resident there, which was meant to pacify them. Lord Krishna is also named Hare, which means one who takes away all distress from the surrendered souls. Lord Chaitanya said that there cannot at any time be a worship as exalted at the realized by the gopis being very anxious about the gopis' grief. Krishna talked with Uddhava and politely requested him to go to Vrindavana, shaking Uddhava's hand with his own hand. He said, "My dear gentle friend Uddhava, please go immediately to Vrindavana and try to pacify my father, mother, Nanda Maharaja, and Yashoda Devi and gopis. They are all grief stricken, who, as it's suffering from great ailment. So go and give them a message. I hope their ailment will be partially relieved. The gopis are always absorbed in thoughts of me. They have a dedicated body, desire life and soul to me. I am anxious not only for the gopis but for anyone who sacrifices society, friendship, love, and personal comfort for me. It is my duty to protect such exalted devotees. The gopis are our most dear. They always think of me in such a way that they remain overwhelmed and almost dead in anxiety due to separation from me. They are keeping alive simply by thinking that I am returning them very soon." Hare Krishna. Requested by Lord Krishna, Uddhava immediately left on the chariot and carried the message to Gokula. He approached Vrindavana at sunset, and when the cow were returning home from the pasturing ground, Uddhava and his chariot were covered by the dust raised by the hooves of the cows. He saw the bulls returning after the cow for mating other cows with the overland milk bags. When running after their cows to feed them with milk, Uddhava saw them. The entire land of Vrindavana was filled with white cows and their calves, running here and there all over Gokula, and he could hear the sound of milking. Every residential house in Vrindavana was decorated for worship of the sun god and the fire god, for the reception of guests, cows, brahmanas, and demigods. Everyone was sanitified by light and incense. All over Vrindavana, there were nice gardens filled with flowers and the sounds of humming bees and singing birds. The lakes were filled with lotus flower and with ducks and swans. Uddhava entered the house of
Hare Krishna.
Nanda.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That is Pranam. So Uddhava comes to pacify the gopis, the Vrindavan Vasis, but ultimately Uddhava himself learns a very wonderful lesson that nobody can surpass the gopis in devotion to Lord Sri Krishna. And another thing is Uddhava looks just like Krishna, right? He is the son of Vasudeva's brother. So he looks just like Krishna. That's why he's called the best of the Vrishnis. Vrishnis are Krishna's paternal side. They are called Vrishnis, right? So in that way, Uddhava comes and for a minute, all the gopis think that this is Krishna himself, right? Because he comes at the time in the evening sunset, just when Krishna actually comes back after herding the cows. He comes back with the dust is all the dust from the hooves of the calves are all up in the air as all the cows and the cowherd boys along with Krishna and Balaram are coming back. So like that, at that time Uddhava actually comes, and everybody thinks that this is actually Krishna himself because he looks very much similar to Krishna, right? So let's see what happens. All right, let's go ahead. And very, very important point here. Krishna is saying, Ye tamam prapadyanti tam sadeva bhajamyaham. If you're always remembering Krishna, if you're never forgetting Krishna, if you're always caring for Krishna, then Krishna will always care for us. Krishna will always remember us. Right? So Krishna is saying here, how, Prabhupada is saying that Krishna is saying that all the gopis, the Vrindavan Vasis, they have no reason to live because they simply are waiting for me to come back to Vrindavan. That is the reason for their life. So, oh Uddhava, you please go and pacify them. So, like that, Krishna arranges, and whenever Krishna does one thing, there are several other purposes that also get fulfilled. In the pretext of actually going to console the Vrajavasis, Krishna also wants Uddhava to understand that the greatest devotion that anyone can have towards Lord Shri Krishna, the highest of such devotion, is exhibited by the gopis of Vrindavan Dham. So in that way, Uddhava himself is going to learn a lesson. Although he is a disciple of Brahaspati, he is very, very well learned. Anybody, however learned he may be, they all have to learn from the gopis how to love and serve Krishna. That's what Krishna is depicting in this wonderful pastime where Uddhava is beginning to understand the greatness of the love of the gopis towards Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, Karpagavali Mataji, go ahead. Uddhava entered the house of Nanda Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji. Am I audible, Mataji?
Yeah, you're audible. Just 1 second. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Krishna.
Hare Hare. 1
Uddhava
second.
entered.
1 second. 1 second. Yes. Okay, go ahead. Uddhava entered the house of Nanda Maharaj.
Uddhava entered the house of Nanda Maharaja and was received as a representative of Vasudeva. Nanda Maharaja offered him a sitting place and sat down with him to ask about messages from Krishna, Balarama, and other family members in Madura. He could understand that Uddhava was very confidential friend of Krishna's and therefore must have come with good messages. My dear Uddhava, he said, how is my friend Vasudeva enjoying life? He is now released from the prison of Kamsa and he is now with his friends and his children, Krishna and Balarama. So he must be very happy. Tell me about him and his welfare. We are also very happy that Kamsa, the most sinful demon, has been killed. He was always envious of the family of the Yadus, his relatives. Now, because of his sinful activities, he is dead and gone along with all his brothers. Please let us know whether Krishna now remembers his father and mother and his friends and companions in Vrindavana. Does he like to remember his cows, his gopis, his Govardhana hill, his pasturizing town in Vrindavana? Or has he now forgotten all these? Is there any possibility of his coming back to his friends and relatives so we can again see his beautiful face with his raised nose and lotus-like eyes? We remember how he saved us from the forest fire, how he saved us from the great snake Kalia in the Yamuna, and how he saved us from so many other demons. And we simply think of how much we are obliged to him for giving us protection in many dangerous situations. My dear Uddhama, when we think of Krishna's beautiful face and his eyes and his different activities here in Vrindavana, we became so overwhelmed that all our activities cease. We simply think of Krishna, how he used to smile and how he looked upon us with grace. When we go to the banks of the Yamuna or the lakes of the Vrindavana or near Govardhana hill or the pasturizing fields, we see that the impressions of Krishna's footprints are still on the surface of the ground. We remember him playing with in those places because he was constantly visiting them. When his appearance within our minds become manifest, we immediately become absorbed in the thought of him. We think, therefore, that Krishna and Balarama may be chief demigods in heaven who have appeared before us like ordinary boys to execute particular duties on earth. This was foretold by Kargamuni when making Krishna's horoscope. If Krishna were not so great personality, how could he have killed Kamsa, who possessed the strength of 10,000 elephants? Besides Kamsa, there were the very strong wrestlers as well as the giant elephant Kauliyapriya. Krishna killed all these animals and demons just as a lion kills an ordinary animal. How wonderful it is that Krishna took in one hand a big heavy bow made of three joined palm trees and broke it very quickly. How wonderful it is that the 7 days continuously he held up Govardhana hill with one hand. How wonderful it is that He has killed all the demons like Lambasura, Dhenukasura, Aristasura, Tirnavada, and Bakasura. They were all so strong that even the demigods in the heavenly planets were afraid of him. But Krishna killed them as easily as anything. While describing the uncommon activities of Krishna before Uddhava, Nanda Maharaja gradually became overwhelmed and could no longer speak. As for Mother Yasoda, she sat by the side of her husband and heard the pastimes of Krishna without speaking. She simply cried incessantly, and milk poured from her breast. When Uddhava saw Maharaja Nanda and Yasoda so extraordinarily overwhelmed with thoughts of Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, and when he experienced their extraordinary affection for him, he also became overwhelmed and spoke as follows. My dear mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaja, you are most respectable among human beings because no one but you can meditate in such transcendental ecstasy.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
So here Uddhava is now trying to pacify Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya. Right? When Nanda Maharaj is actually talking about the various pastimes of the Lord executed in Vrindavan Dham and how every step that they take in Vrindavan Dham remind them of some or the other pastime of Lord Sri Krishna. Uddhava became very overwhelmed, right? Because Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya themselves are very overwhelmed. And milk is, breast milk is pouring out of Yashoda Maya's breasts, right, in remembrance of Krishna, right? But Uddhava is now trying to, explain to Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how Krishna and Balaram are the Purusha incarnations and all that. And finally, after trying to explain about all of these Aishwarya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Balaram, they simply understand that you are dedicated yourself to Krishna, right? Who is and they are so much absorbed in the Madhurya Ras. Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj are absorbed in so much of Madhurya Ras, they don't relish what Uddhava is saying in terms of the opulence of the Lord, right? Because as we go higher, the Dasya, then Sakya, then Vatsalya, then Madhurya. So the Vatsalya Rasa is much higher than the Dasya Rasa. So as a servant of the Lord, Krishna is so powerful, Krishna is so great, Krishna is so wonderful, we are the servants of the Lord. Like that, when Uddhava continues to talk about Krishna and Balaram being the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, etc., Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda are happy to hear the glories of Lord Sri Krishna, but since their rasa is higher, they know all of this, but they don't know all of this, right? Because Yoga Maya is playing her role in actually preventing Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj to actually understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. For them, Krishna is their eternal son, who is now gone to Mathura to fulfill certain purposes, and they simply want to understand when Krishna and Balaram will be back. But after performing their duties, when will they be back? That is the only hope by which they are living. They are continuing to live day after day. So they are hearing Uddhava, but their hearts are not very nourished hearing these words, because Uddhava is actually talking about the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead. Uddhava continued.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam. Uddhava continued, Balram and Krishna are original personalities of Godhead from whom the cosmic manifestation emanates. What happened?
Hari bol. They are chief among all personalities.
Mataji, sorry. They are chief among all the personalities. All personalities, each of them is both the material and the efficient cause of this material creation. Material nature is conducted by the Purush incarnations who all act under Krishna and Balrama. By their partial representation, they enter the hearts of all living entities. They are the source of all knowledge and all forgetfulness also. This is confirmed by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter. I am present in everyone's heart, and I cause one to remember and forget. I am the original compiler of Vedanta, and I am the actual owner of the Vedas. Uddhav continued, if at the time of death a person can fix his pure mind upon Krishna, even for a moment after giving up his material body, he becomes eligible to appear in his original spiritual body, just as the sun rises with all illumination passing from his life. In this way, he immediately enters into the spiritual kingdom vacant. This is the result of Krishna conscious practice. If we practice Krishna consciousness in this present body while in a healthy condition and in good mind, simply by chanting the holy Mahamantra Hare Krishna, we will have every possibility of fixing the mind upon Krishna at the time of death. If we do this, then our lives become successful without any doubt. But if we keep our minds always absorbed in creative activities for material enjoyment, then naturally at the time of death we shall think of such activities and again be forced to enter material, conditioned bodies to suffer the threefold miseries of the material existence. Therefore, to remain always absorbed in Krishna consciousness was the standard of the inhabitants of Vrindavan as exhibited by Maharaja Nand, Yashoda and Gopis. If we can simply follow in their footsteps even to a minute proportion, our lives will surely become successful and we shall enter the spiritual kingdom vacant.
Hare
My
Krishna.
dear mother Yashoda,
Very well,
Hare
correct.
Krishna.
So, here this is what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita also, right? If you spend your entire life thinking about me, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha, perform your duty, but always thinking about me. In this way, when we perform our Swadharma, it is very likely because we are completely absorbed in Krishna 24 hours of the day when we are living. At the time of death, Krishna will ensure that we remember Krishna and we go back home, back to Godhead. Yad Gatvan Nivartante Tad Dhamma Paramam Mama. At the end of one's life, one will go back home, back to Godhead. And once one goes back to the spiritual world, one need not come back to this Martya Loka. One need not come back to this material world of death, of birth, death, disease, and old age. Right? So what is the formula that is given by Lord Shri Krishna? Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nati atra samshayah. Krishna says, one who remembers me at the time of death will come back to me without fail. And Krishna also says, if one remembers the Supreme Personality of Godhead when one is living, when one is healthy, throughout the life, then automatically one will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. And that is a promise given by Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, let's move ahead. My dear mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Okay, Sarva Gopi Shri Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji Kandat Pranam. My dear mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaja, Uddhava continued. You have thus fixed your minds wholly and solely upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, whose transcendental form is the cause of impersonal Brahman. The Brahman effulgence is only the bodily rays of Narayana. And because you are all always absorbed in ecstatic thought of Krishna and Balram, what pious activity remains for you to perform? I have brought a message from Krishna that he will very soon come back to Vrindavana and satisfy you by his personal presence. Krishna promised that he would come back to Vrindavana after finishing his business in Mathura. This promise he will surely fulfill. I therefore request the two of you, who are the best among all who are fortunate, not to be aggrieved on account of Krishna's absence. You are already perceiving his presence 24 hours a day. Yet, he will come and see you very soon. Actually, he is present everywhere and everyone's heart. Just as fire is present in wood. Since Krishna is the super soul, he regards everyone equally. He sees no one as his enemy, no one as his friend, and no one as his lower or higher than him. He actually has no father, mother, brother, or relative, nor does he require society, friendship, and love. He does not have a material body like us. He never appears to or takes birth like an ordinary human being. He does not appear in higher or lower species of life like ordinary living entities who are forced to take birth on account of their previous fruitive activity. He appears by his internal potency just to give protection to his devotee. He is never influenced by the modes of material nature. But when he appears within the material world, he seems to act like an ordinary living entity under the spell of the modes of material nature. But in fact, he is the overseer of the material creation. And while remaining unaffected by the material modes of nature, he creates, maintains, and dissolves the whole cosmic manifestation. We wrongly look upon Krishna and Balrama as an ordinary human being, just as whirling men see the whole world whirling around them. The personality of Godhead is no one's son. He is actually everyone's father, mother, and supreme controller. There is no doubt of this. Whatever is already being experienced, whatever is not being experienced, whatever already exists, does not exist or will exist in the future, whatever is the smallest, whatever is the biggest, have no existence outside the supreme personality of Godhead. Everything rests in him, but he is untouched by everything manifested. Nanda and Uddhava had thus passed the whole night discussing Krishna. In the morning, the gopis prepared them for morning aarti by lighting their lamps and sprinkling butter mixed with yogurt. After finishing their Mangala Aarti, they engaged themselves in churning butter from yogurt. While the gopis were thus engaged, the lamps reflected on their ornaments made the ornaments still brighter. The churning rods, their arms, their earrings, the bangles, the dress, and everything moved. And kumkumna powder gave their faces a saffron luster comparable to the rising sun. While making sounds by churning, they also sang the glories of Krishna. The two sound vibrations mixed together ascended to the sky and sanctified the whole atmosphere. After sunrise, the gopis came as usual to offer their respects to Nanda Maharaja and Yashoda. But when they saw the golden chariot of Uddhava at the door, they began to inquire among themselves. What was that chariot and to whom did it belong? Some of them inquired whether Akrura, who had taken away Krishna, had returned. They were not very much pleased with Akrura because, being engaged in the service of Kamsa, he had taken lotus-eyed Krishna away to the city of Mathura. All the gopis conjured that Akrura might have come again to fulfill another cruel plan. But they thought, we are now dead bodies without our supreme master, Krishna. What further act can Akrura perpetrate against these dead bodies? While they were talking in this way, Uddhava finished his morning ablution, prayers, and chanting and came before them. Thus, the end of the Bhaktivedanta purport, 46th chapter of Krishna, Uddhava visit Vrindavana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So here we see how the gopis, their routine does not change, even though Lord Shri Krishna has gone to Mathura. So what do? They say they again in the early morning they churn they churn butter from yogurt. They prepare nice sweets made of ghee and everything. And then as every day they come and visit Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. But this time when they come, they see there is a beautiful chariot, and chariot means it must have come from Kamsa's kingdom only, where there are chariots in Vrindavan. So who has come from Mathura again? Now we are all dead bodies. They've already taken Krishna away. What do they want now from us? Like that they are coming, and that time Uddhava is actually performing his morning Sandhya Vandana, and he is also coming. When they see Uddhava, they see that maybe it is Krishna himself, because Uddhava looks very much like Krishna, right? We have about 15 minutes more till 12:30. We will read. Let's continue, right? And what does he do? He tries to deliver the message that Krishna has given, right? Krishna asked Uddhava to pacify the gopis, right? Krishna will come. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Don't worry about Krishna. And then he comes to teach a lesson to the gopis, and finally he himself learns a lesson from the gopis. What is the greatest level of devotion to the supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna? So let's move on to chapter number 47, delivery of the message of Krishna to the gopis. So what Uddhava is now, the gopis are looking at Uddhava, and Uddhava is looking at the gopis, and then the gopis are thinking, is this Krishna? He almost looks like Krishna, but they know that he looks like Krishna, but he's not Krishna. And then let's see what transpires after that. Okay, Sarva Gopishni Mataji, you want to continue reading? Yeah. Chapter 47, delivery of the message of Krishna to the gopis. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Delivery of the message of Krishna to the gopis. When the gopis saw Uddhava, they observed that his features almost exactly resembled those of Krishna. And they could understand that he was a great devotee of Krishna. His arms were very long and his eyes were just like the petals of the lotus flower. He was dressed in yellow garments and wore garland of lotus flowers. His face was very beautiful, having achieved the liberation of Sarupya and thus having the same bodily features of the Lord. Uddhava looked almost like Krishna. In Krishna's absence, the gopis had been coming dutifully to visit Mother Yashoda's house early in the morning. They knew that Nanda Maharaja and Mother Yashoda were always grief-stricken, and they had made it their first duty to come and pay the respect to the most exalted elderly personalities of Vrindavana. Seeing the friends of Krishna, Nanda and Yashoda would remember Krishna himself and be satisfied, and the gopis also would be pleased by seeing Nanda and Yashoda. When the gopis saw that the Uddhava was representing Krishna even in his bodily feature, they thought he must be a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He began to contemplate, who is this boy who looks just like Krishna? He has the same eyes like lotus petals, the same raised nose, and the beautiful face, and he is smiling in the same way. In all respects, he resembles Krishna, Shyamasundara, the beautiful blackish boy. He is even dressed exactly like Krishna. Where has this boy come from? Who is the fortunate girl who has him for her husband? Thus they talked among themselves. They were very anxious to know about him. And because they were simple, unsophisticated village girls, they surrounded Uddhava. When the gopis understood that Uddhava had a message from Krishna, they became very happy and called him to a secluded place and offered him a nice sitting place. They wanted to talk with him very freely and did not want to be embarrassed before unknown persons. They welcomed him with polite words in great submissiveness. We know that you are the most confidential associate of Krishna and that he has therefore sent you to Vrindavana to give solace to his father and mother. We can understand that family affection is very strong. Even great sages who have taken to the renounced order of life cannot give up the family affection 100%. Sometimes they think their family members. Krishna has therefore sent you to his father and mother. Otherwise, he has no further business in Vrindavana. He is now in town. What does he have to know about Vrindavana village or the cows pasturing ground? These are not at all useful for Krishna because he is now a man of the city. Surely he has nothing to do with the persons who do not happen to be his family members. Friendship with those outside the family continue as long as there is some selfish interest in them. Otherwise, why should one bother about those outside their family? Specifically, a person attached to the wife of others is interested in them. As long as there is a need of sense gratification, just like the bumblebees have an interest in flowers as long as they want to take the honey out of them. It is psychologically very natural that a prostitute does not care for her paramour as soon as he loses his money. Similarly, when the citizens find that the government is incapable of giving them full protection, they leave the country. A student, after finishing his education, gives up his relationship with his teacher and the school. A priest, after taking his reward from the worshipper, gives him up. When the fruit season is over, birds are no longer interested in the tree. Just after eating in the house of a host, the guest gives up the relationship with him. After a forest fire, when there is a scarcity of green there, deer, and the other animals give up the forest, and so a man, after enjoying his girlfriend, gives up his connection with her. In this way, all the gopis indirectly accused Krishna by citing many examples.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So the gopis are asking Krishna, what is the message that Krishna has sent for us? Right? We are not the family of Krishna. Maybe you have just come to meet Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya. Maybe he's got a message to give them. But we are simple, Vrajavasis. We are not even family members of Krishna. So definitely Krishna would not have sent any message for us. Right now he is busy with the girls in the city. So like that, they are actually indirectly pouring their hearts out to Uddhava, saying, accusing Krishna that Krishna is no longer interested in us. He does not get anything from us now. He's gone to Mathura now. Why would he care for us? Why? What does he have to do anything with us? So, anyways, he would have forgotten us also, like that. And then let's see what Uddhava responds. All right, we'll end with 1 or 2 paragraphs, and then we'll continue tomorrow. We have another 5 minutes, so let's read. Sridhar Prabhu, please go ahead. Uddhava understood the gopis from there.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji. Uddhava understood that gopis of Vrindavana were all simply absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna and his childhood activities. While talking about Krishna with Uddhava, they forget all about their household business. They even forget about themselves as their interest in Krishna increased more and more. One of the gopis named Srimati Radharani was so much absorbed in thoughts of Krishna by that. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
His of her personal touch with him, and she actually began to talk with the bumblebee which was flying there and trying to touch her lotus feet. While the other gopis were talking with Krishna's messenger Uddhava, Srimati Radharani took a bumblebee, that bumblebee to be the messenger from Krishna, and began to talk with it as follows. Bumblebee, you are accustomed to drinking honey from flower to flower, and therefore you are preferred to the messenger of Krishna, who is the same nature as you. I can see your mustache and red powder of kunkuma, which was smeared on the flower garland of Krishna, while it was pressed against the breast of some other girl who is my competitor. You feel very proud because of having touched the garland, and your mustache have become reddish. You have come here carrying a message for me, anxious to touch my feet. But dear bumblebee, let me warn you, do not touch me. I don't want any message from your unreliable master. You are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. It may be that Srimati Radharani purposely addressed the bumblebee, sacrificing in order to indirectly criticize the messenger Uddhava like the other gopis. Srimati Radharani saw the Uddhava's bodily features resembled Krishna, but she also saw Uddhava is being equal to Krishna. Indirectly, therefore, she indicated that Uddhava was an unreliable as Krishna himself. Srimati Radharani wanted to give specific reason why she was dissatisfied with Krishna and his messenger. She addressed the bumblebee. Your master Krishna is exactly of your quality. You sit down on a flower, and after tasting a little honey, you immediately fly away and sit on another flower and taste. Similarly, only once did your master Krishna give me the chance to taste the touch of his lips, and then he left me altogether. I know also that that goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who is always in the midst of lotus flower, is constantly engaged in Krishna's service. But I do not know how she has come as captivated by Krishna and why she is so much attached to Krishna, although she knows the actual character. Maybe she is so much captivated by Krishna's sweet words that she cannot understand his real character. As far as we concerned, we are more intelligent than the goddess of fortune. We are not going to cheated anymore by Krishna or his messenger. According to expert opinion, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is subordinate expansion of Srimati Radharani. As Krishna was a numerous expansion of Vishnumurti, so his pleasure potency, Radharani also has innumerable expansion of goddess of fortune. Therefore, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi ji, is always eager to elevate her to the position of gopis. Shri Radharani, Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam Mataji.
So we will continue this tomorrow. This is very wonderful. Radharani is not directly talking to Uddhava. Radharani is actually talking to the bumblebee, taking that bumblebee to be the messenger of Krishna. And she's saying that just like the master is unreliable, so we cannot rely on the words of the messenger also, right? If the master himself is unreliable, how can we rely on the message of the messenger? So like that, Uddhava does not talk anything before Uddhava speaks. The gopis as well as Radharani are automatically, they've rejected the messenger, saying that if the master is unreliable, how much can we rely on the message of the messenger of such an unreliable person? So like that, Srimati Radharani and the gopis go on, and then Uddhava gets an opportunity, and he starts also speaking. So these are the wonderful conversations, and Radharani always keeps the bee, the bumblebee, and talks to the bumblebee only, right? Thinking that the bumblebee is a messenger of Lord Shri Krishna. So like that, very interesting conversations are going to happen between the bumblebee and our Srimati Radharani. Join us tomorrow 11 o'clock as we continue this conversation. So today I had it at the class at 11:30 because I'd gone for voting. So today is a voting day. So I thought there'd be a lot of queue, and then that's why we wanted to start at 11:30. But there weren't many people because we went early in the morning. So that's why, we started off with Kirtan at 11:15, and then the devotees joined at 11:30. So that's why we got delayed today. Tomorrow we will resume our normal time back at 11 o'clock. So let's do Harinam Sankirtan. We'll ask the devotees to switch on your cameras. We'll take darshan and then we'll close our session. Namma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Asatya Deshadarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Priya Dvaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jai Jagannath Jai Baladev Jai Subhadra Jai Sudarshan Jaya Balagopal Jaya Prahlad Narsinga Jai Lakshmi Narsinga Jai Guru Vajurappa Jaya Radha Krishna Jai Rukmini Vithal Jai Sadguru Swami Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Pitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai Vanja Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna Harjit Mataji and our Namesh Prabhu Sarva Gopeshwari Mataji Sridhar Prabhu Anusha Mataji and our Pranav Prabhu, Rajneesh Prabhu, Karpagalli Mataji, Nisha Mataji, Ramya Mataji. Thank you for joining us and switching on your cameras. Bhatia Mataji does not want to switch on her camera. That's fine. Thank you very much for joining in. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. So we'll continue with these wonderful pastimes of the conversation between Radharani and the bumblebee tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock Indian Standard Time. Please to join us. For that, we will join at 5 o'clock Indian Standard Time for chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Without chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We cannot understand Krishna's pastimes. So please do join us at 5 o'clock. Then we'll join at 11 o'clock. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare Bol. Thank you very much. Much gratitude to all of you.